if they end up with these managers they're genuinely linked to, where do you see Hussam, Chelsea finishing next season? If they get an Enzo, if they get a McKenna, where do you see Chelsea ending up next season?
Get Enzo out of my club. Get Enzo out of my club. Get McKenna out of my club. He's playing this guy there. He has no style of play. I've had enough. We're Chelsea Football Club. Enzo Maresca's the Chelsea manager. Where do Chelsea finish? This one, if I'm being completely honest, I just think, Terry, this one is a very early question because it depends what happens in the transfer window. Now, Mo said something because Mo is smart when it comes to like, twisting a little bit what's happening in the world, and he can read a little bit into the future, short-term future. The fact that Terry put up the article, Mo said what he said about Chelsea, shows me that they're going to do a youth project thing again. It's so obvious. It's actually so obvious. As soon as Terry put on the screen, they want to control, even including in-game. They don't want anyone to make any transfer decisions. They don't want any of that stuff. They simply want this right here. This is, if you're a Chelsea fan, let me say this, don't put it off the screen, Terry. If you're a Chelsea fan and you're not pissed off with the last sentence, I genuinely don't get how does your brain even think? Like, what is your IQ and shoe size the same thing? Read that last sentence with a control that could even stretch into elements of on-pitch coaching. That statement should worry any single fan of any single club if it was said about their football club. If I tell Arsenal fans Kroenke wants to get involved in Arteta's on-pitch coaching decisions, they will all go mad. You cannot have anyone getting involved with your on-pitch coaching. Now, where do they go in the summer? Terry, this depends what they sign. I'm seeing names like Sesko. I'm seeing names like all these guys. I ain't going to look at Chelsea and be scared. I ain't going to look at Chelsea and go like, oh my God, Chelsea worry me so much. They're going to sign Sesko. Oh, I'm shitting my pants. That's not what I think. It's so obvious they're going to do a youth project. And if they are going to continue to do a youth project, then Europa League football it is. Europa, Conference, that's it. Top 4 is not a thing for them because Liverpool will be in a stronger position, Arsenal in a stronger position, City in a stronger position. Hell, if Spurs sign 2-3 players, I know they're in a stronger position. So this is just the reality of the situation. This is the reality.
I mean, a few people in the comments are saying this is like media hogwash. The problem is when those same journalists were talking about how poor Poch was, everybody took it as, they're telling the truth. And it's interesting how these media outlets are all kind of saying the same thing. It's so obvious that Chelsea Football Club are briefing them. And I think Chelsea Football Club are trying to put that message out there. Listen, this is what we expect from our managers. We want control. And that final set on-field sort of coaching. Let me put that up again. Elements of on-pitch coaching. Now, I don't know if that means match day. But I think what I'm reading into that is that they're going to turn around and say, this is the style of football we want. This is how we want you to play. And there's no deviating from that. Now, again, I
actually think there is another way. I'm sorry. Can I interject you here?
Yeah, go on.
I actually think because of it's all connecting, right? Because of the youth project and the Estivaus and the guys there, I think they're going to get involved to the point that they would want these players to get minutes because we want to increase the value of that player and this player. Do you see what is happening? That happens in clubs that want to fill in the summer. For example, they go to the coach and say, by the way, we got this guy. We want you to try to give this guy a little bit of minutes. Trust him because we might want to sell him in the summer.
Transfer value up, basically.
Get his transfer value up. You know, that happens in clubs that don't like to win trophies, but the clubs that like to increase profit and turnover. You know that this is on. It's not tactical. They're not going to tell him play 4-3-3 or 4-4-2, but they're going to tell him, by the way, we're going to get this guy from whatever club in Brazil or Argentina or Italy, and we want to increase the value. We have to get this guy minutes. If you're going to play, we're going to need this guy. And I think that is it. And I don't know why Chelsea fans are so triggered. This is the reports. We are looking out for your club.
Them all why we triggered them? Mo, let me tell you why we triggered them. You know why they triggered them? Because they just don't get it. They genuinely don't.
No, I think it's the other way. The people you're triggering they believe what Mo's saying, but now they're hearing somebody else say it out loud. Because they've got to hope it ain't true, and I mean this. I'm not as downbeat on Chelsea as you two sort of are. I think this is still work for them. They've got to create a plan, stick to a plan. I've spoke about this for so long with Man United. It hasn't been who we've hired per se. It's the changing of direction every 5 minutes. That's a bigger issue here. But if you're right, Mo, and they want control over who starts based on how much they pay for them and how much they want to sell them for, profitability, if they are putting profits and financial growth over winning trophies, as opposed to profits and financial growth to develop, to bring in more money to make us even better, if the football being the best it can possibly be isn't the pinnacle, they've got big problems at that club. They've got big problems. They've got huge problems. If what you're saying is true, there's trouble ahead.
I don't know, but I'm reading. But okay, we sit here. What do? We try to read the reports and conclude what is gonna happen. That's our job as people that do YouTube, as people that talk to the people.
Be entertaining, though. Don't be boring.
Yeah,
if you want to be a YouTuber,
I'm gonna give you an example. Brighton. Sometimes the Zerbi this season, he'd have Gilmore and Pascal Gross fit, but I'd see a kid starting. Do we think this kid has a start over these guys? No. But we know what is happening.
Brighton 2.0.
But we know what is happening. You know what is happening? They got this kid that they think has huge potential and can be the next Caicedo. Oh, start this guy a little bit. You know what I mean? He would rotate players that you would think, if you're looking to win the games, you would start your starting 11. Your strong starting 11. Why would you make subs if your team is winning? But he would make these changes. He would bench someone that you would think it's a full-on conclusion. This guy starts if he's fit. But you see this guy sitting on the bench. And I think this is where the money, the profit.
Money. Remember, they hired Brighton scouts,
and they hired Brighton scouts because there is no point of you getting a kid from whatever place in the world, Brazil or even Spain or something, and this kid is not playing. What is the profit here? How can I increase the value of this kid? Someone has.
How much they paid for Estevao? 30 million, I think, right?
I have to tell the coach, by the way, that happens in a lot of clubs. You have to tell the coach, by the way, we bought this player. We want to give him minutes. Can you integrate him in the squad? The coach is like, but I have my starting 11. No. We need to push this guy a little bit. Give him some minutes. This is what's on-field decisions. But you guys don't want to understand this because that happens in a lot of clubs. But you guys don't see it.
You have Ineos next season. If Jim Ratcliffe wants to say in on-pitch decisions, what would you say?
In terms of no one on our board should be saying who should be picked and who should start in that direct way. That element should not and can't happen. They should dictate how they want the football to look. They should dictate the style of play. So if they say we want to play progressive football out from the back, high line, attacking, whatever it may be, they've got a right to suggest that. But when it comes to day-to-day coaching and picking of the teams and who makes in-game decisions, the board and the owner should have no place in that. And that's how I operate in my life and in business. You know, I tell KJ what I want, but then I let KJ implement it. And then I review it. If he does a good job, he gets rewarded. If he doesn't do a good job, he gets developed. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it should be. You know what I mean? And KJ did a great job. And for years, I've spoken about the connection between sport and business. And a lot of people would like to say there is no connection. I feel that that's absolute nonsense. Someone who myself competed at a high level of sport and who's worked at a decent level of business, both corporately and for myself, there are absolute parallels. There are absolute parallels and similarities, and it's the same thing. And in so many ways. And I think if they're really controlling who starts in that game, and again, I think it's a little different at Brighton in the sense of they have a model, and their model to keep growing is to sell these players they invest. So I can understand them saying we've got to play these kids so we can sell them and grow the model. There's a longer term goal in that to keep increasing revenues, to keep staying in the Premier League, to keep growing the fan base, to keep growing the revenue. So one day they don't have to do that. I actually get it from Brighton's perspective. It's a different scenario. When you're at Chelsea, that shouldn't be what you guys are doing. You're already bringing in £500-600 million. You should be aiming to win trophies because you're not where a Brighton is in the pyramid. You
aren't getting Andengra. You aren't getting Andengra for 2 million. You aren't. There is a comment here, a couple of comments, and I know Super Chat, but it's a comment from someone. I think I lost it now. That comment, do you know what they said? And I know this is a Chelsea fan because he said Roman did it and no one said a word. So they know that it's happening. They know that it might happen. But because Roman did it, it's okay.
But that's wrong. I don't know what you. So when I say it's wrong that no one said a word. Because when it was announced that Shevchenko was signed, but he wasn't a Jose signed. Jose was just adamant I didn't want him. And this was in the era where managers run clubs. This was before sporting directors came in. Every Chelsea fan I knew was frustrated. They were like, why are we giving Jose a player he doesn't want? This is crazy. And then Shevchenko was a flop, world-class player, but a flop at Chelsea. And this, so it was challenged. I don't know about where this person was when it was going on, but the Chelsea fans I knew, I remember listening to Talk Sport. Chelsea fans are fuming about it. So there's many things that Roman's done that people complained about. When Ancelotti was sacked, I must have heard 30 calls into Talk Sport because that was the only platform back then.
They're all angry.
All angry. So this idea that Chelsea fans just rolled over and took everything Roman did is an absolute fallacy.
Lie.
It's an absolute fallacy. That never happened at all. Super chat here says, didn't De Zerbi leave Brighton in a similar way to how Poch just left Chelsea? Yes. Which is why I'm not convinced Man United or Chelsea get De Zerbi, because both clubs have been quite public about not wanting to give the manager control over transfers. And they're both left clubs for not having control over transfers. However, it all depends on the seeing eye to eye thing, which is key. This is a fun take with Payne. If KDB was never subbed on the Newcastle away game, we Arsenal
Would have won.
Would have won. Would be different. Just joking.
Yeah, and if the referees could make the correct decisions in the same stadium for a certain game, then also
we
things would
haven't.
be-
We haven't heard anything about that, Terry, until now. The offside thing.
yeah, the offside.
No
Video
one
well.
said a word, bro.
I'm done with it. Sorry, I already done that super chat here. So the real question, Terry, is: are you taking Poch at United? Like I've said, he's not my. I wouldn't personally pick him, but if he comes in, I'm going to give it time to.
I'm so
to
shocked to
marinate.
say that, Terry, till this second. I understand your basically your thing is he hasn't won, which I accept is a fair thing to say. However, I'm looking at what Poch has done with United, or with Chelsea over this last year, the style, the structure, him playing a certain brand of football. I think he'd get the United fans on board directly.
So I'll be honest with you. Do I think he can make us play a nice style of football? Yes, I think he could. Like I've said, I wouldn't be against it. I'm not saying everything about it would be negative. I've just never been I've never endorsed him hugely. So I'm not going to suddenly be a hypocrite that he's linked to my club again and go, oh, I'm so excited. But if he comes in, I hope he does brilliantly. I hope
Get the best out of your players and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I hope he does well. I mean, I have no agenda. I'm not going to have him come in and go, right, it wasn't my choice, so I'm going to be negative towards him, because I'm a grown-up. I'm an adult. I've got a, relatively mature mind when it comes to things like that. And yeah, I'm not going to do anything crazy. Right, Mo?
In the other room.
Did you shrink? Did you put yourself in the
You're
washing
the other
machine?
room, Mo.
I went. The camera just heated up for some reason. My actual camera.
Yeah, zoom in,
Now we get to see how small Mo really is.
Yes.
4'2".
Let me try to zoom in.
4'2". No. He's at least 4'8".
There is breaking news. Yeah, we spoke about it at the beginning of the show, Elvis, my friend. So thank you very much indeed. Mo, isn't that what clubs will now do to beat profit and
I think he
sustainability?
means the FFP thing. Yeah, but that doesn't include getting involved with bloody on-pitch decisions. Like what Todd Wood is going to come down and give the motivational speech pre the London Derby or
it's
something.
crazy. This is to you from earlier from Clicks, who says, Hussam, it's called standards, has nothing to do with Roman.
Standards has become the new buzzword everyone wants to use. Unless you use it in an actual correct manner, then the word standards mean nothing to me. Stop just saying buzzwords. You have a Europa League squad, you finish in the Europa League positions. Done.
Yeah, standards is overused, and everyone should have standards, but there's relativity involved. As I always point out, if the man starts in the gym at 35 years old, 20 stone overweight, he could not set the same instant standards as somebody that's joined the gym that day, but from another gym, he's been training for 20 years and he's built like a brick shithouse. That what they do day to day in training is going to look different for a prolonged period of time. They both might have the same end goal, but how you get there from those starting points are different. And people that ignore that for me are mad. 5p in the making, and I'm already running out of popcorn. Thank you, Mansour. By the way, Mo, aside from Arsenal, Inter is my other passion.
Thank you so much. Got another camera out. Thank you so much.
He doesn't know.
But your microphone's not connected.
Yeah, that's your laptop. We can hear. There you are. Such a serious lack of professionalism more.
This year says, think Bowley has understood he made a mistake with the $1 billion squad. So he's taking way out. He's making a new strategy, managers who grow young players and sell.
Yeah, but then if that is the case, I'm gonna say this. If that's the case, then you're officially Brighton of the top 6. That's it.
In the next season, when they sell Cole Palmer to Man United for 90 million, it will be peak.
Yeah,
if that's the case,
bro.
Speaking of big transfers, there's talk today. By the way, I do want to say this. I can't believe there was a pre-season or a post-season friendly today between Spurs and Newcastle in Australia, and yet all these clubs and managers moan about too many games in a season. It's a fucking joke. But